chillin', Giz is chillin'. What more can I say? Top villain, that's what we get. Got it good. Since you understood, would you stop?
Welcome to Spin That Back. This is Rick.
Merrick.
And this is our top 15 movies of 2015. So we each have our own individual list, but we're just going to trade off and just go back and forth from 15 all the way down to 1.
So my honorable mentions are Bridge of Spies, Straight Outta Compton, Carol, Beasts of No Nation, Room, and Kingsman. I thought those are all fantastic movies. You should go out and watch those.
So mine are Trainwreck, Bridge of Spies, The Big Short, Shaun the Sheep, Straight Outta Compton, Brooklyn, The Martian, Inside Out, Room, and the two movies that I really wish could have made my list were the Peanuts movie and Beasts of No Nation.
Yeah, my number 15 is Sicario. This is a great film. Emily Blunt, Benicio del Toro was amazing, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets nominated for supporting actor. It was just really gritty, really dark. The cinematography was awesome. A non-stop ride from beginning to end.
My number 15 is Creed. Great movie all the way around from Ryan Coogler. Michael B. Jordan was great in it, and Sylvester Stallone fucking killed it in this movie. Great throwback film. Kept that vibe and nostalgia from the original Rocky and brought it, to a whole new generation. And it's gonna be great to see where Michael B. Jordan takes it from here.
My number 14 was The Martian. Ridley Scott. It's great to see him go back to make another great film. Great cast of actors, because I was looking back at it, I was like, man, you had Matt Damon, Jessica Chastain, what's his name? The guy from 12 Years a Slave? I can never pronounce his name.
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah, him, Jeff Daniels. The cast is awesome, and the writing was great. It was funny, and I just thought that was an awesome movie.
My number 14 is It Follows. I think for me personally, I think one of the best horror movies I've seen in the last few years. David Robert Mitchell, just great writing, great directing. Just the overall feel of this movie felt like like a 1980s horror flick, but updated, for 2015. Michael Monroe's great in this movie. Hopefully we'll be seeing her pop up in a lot more in the next coming years. But yeah, just It Follows. I loved it. Definitely check that out.
My number 13 is Ex Machina, another great film. This one came early on in the year. It really only had 3 actors in there. Alicia Vikander, they were all awesome. Alicia Vikander was great. Donald Gleason was the shit.
And they were all in great movies this year.
They all had
last year, I mean.
Yeah, for 2015, they all had like a big year. And Oscar Isaac, he just seems to be all over the place now, but he was great in this film. And I'm a huge science fiction fan, and just seeing what they were able to do with this and kind of put it in the setting like a future that might be possible, very close. It's kind of scary, but at the same time, it's really awesome just getting to see what they were able to do with it.
My number 13 is Kingsman, The Secret Service. Matthew K. Vaughn takes on another franchise. It seems like he's always one and done with franchises. So hopefully this will be getting a sequel, but Colin Firth was great in it. Taron Egerton? Was that
Taron
his name?
Egerton.
Yeah, he was
Eggsy.
just... Yeah, Eggsy. Yeah, he was fucking great in this movie. There's been rumors that he might play Han Solo. I think he would fit. This is just a really, really fun movie. It's worth it just alone for the church scene. That was like one of my favorite things I saw all last year. It was fucking awesome.
My number 12 is Spotlight. This is a great movie. I honestly really couldn't find any flaws in it. Mark Ruffalo too. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a nomination. He was great in this film.
Yeah, he was good.
What they did from the journalism aspect of it, and then the story, with the whole thing with the molestation. Like, it's just really sad. And it's crazy when you think that this is all, based off of actual events. So it's just really dope what they were able to do with it. And it was gripping from beginning to end.
My number 12 is Sicario. Denis Villeneuve's third movie now. I really got to get caught up on his first 2, Prisoner and Enemy. Great directing. Richard Deacon's cinematography was incredible. Emily Blunt was great in it. Benicio del Toro was like maybe the best thing in the movie. The scene at the border was crazy. Just kind of like of the times right now, with the drug cartels taking over the world, and it was just really interesting to see it from this side. So yeah, I love Sicario.
My number 11 is Creed. Like he said, Sylvester Stallone was great, man. It was just awesome seeing him go back to the role that we all know and love him for. Michael B. Jordan this guy's a great actor. He's gonna have like a really bright future. What they were able to do with the story and kind of bring in the old fans of the Rocky series, while at the same time kind of doing like a reboot and then bringing in like a new audience. It was great. Like, I just thought the execution was awesome. And Ryan Coogler, he's only done 2 movies, but this guy's on the roll, man. Hopefully he keeps it going with Black Panther.
My number 11 is Anomalisa, a late entry into my top movies. It came out right before the end of 2015. and it just quickly jumped up. I'm a big Charlie Kaufman fan. Being John Malkovich, Eternal Sunshine is like, one of my favorite movies ever, probably. His premises for his movies, it's just always something really creative, and the fact that he was able to tell this story all in animation, stop motion animation. Go into it knowing as little as possible, and you'll enjoy it even more.
My number 10 is Mission Impossible. I'm a huge Mission Impossible fan. I love these films, and I think Rogue Nation was probably one of, if not my favorite one in the series so far. And just to see Tom Cruise, go ahead and do these crazy stunts, like, you got to give this man props. He's in his 50s and he's still going on and doing these crazy stunts. Rebecca Ferguson was great. She was at one of the best parts of the film. Hopefully they bring her back. I'm pretty sure they will. She was great in it. But yeah, I love Mission Impossible, and that's my number 10.
My number 10 is Steve Jobs. Danny Boyle does it again. Take a look at the guy's filmography. The dude's incredible. This is like one of the best jobs I've seen him do. Aaron Sorkin's screenplay was, I think, one of the best written for the whole year. Michael Fassbender, Kate Winslet. They both had some of the best chemistry I saw like all year between two actors. I really love the way it was told, kind of like in a 3-act play. And Seth Rogen was even great in it too. But I really love Steve Jobs, and that's my number 10.
My number 9 is Inside Out. This is a great Pixar film. I think this is actually one of their best ones to date. It's just an awesome film for both kids and adults. It's something that parents can watch with their children. Probably like one of the funniest Pixar movies, and it's also one of the saddest Pixar movies. Just from beginning to end, it's just like a gripping film. The animation is always top notch with Pixar, and I absolutely love this film.
My number 9 is The Gift. I think one of my biggest surprises of the year, which we actually did a video, we can link to that down below. But Joel Edgerton's writing and directing debut. Jason Bateman, like for one of the only times I've ever seen him not play Jason Bateman in a movie. And was it Rebecca Hall?
Yeah, Rebecca Hall. She was really
good. So it was pretty much just the three of them carrying the movie for the majority of it. Trying to know as little of it as possible, and you can going in. And just the premise is just really interesting, and one of the best endings I saw all last year.
And number 8 is The Gift. I really like what Joel Edgerton did with the writing, as far as like how his character is kind of tied up into like these people's past, and how he comes back in, and it kind of makes you look back on your life, like just kind of looking back and saying like, damn,
the shit you say to people.
The shit you say to people, like how it can have like a lasting effect, over time. Yeah. The last maybe 10 to 15 minutes of the movie, I was like, damn, like what the fuck's gonna happen? And it's just like it escalates, and I thought the ending was awesome. Like it was probably my favorite ending, I think, of the year. And I just hope Joel Edgerton comes back and he does something as a director, like for his first time. That I was like super surprised, and it was a great film.
Really dope. My number 8 is Carol. Another late entry for me. I caught it right at the last week of the year, but for sure, like definitely jumped up high as well. Kate Blanchett and Rooney Mara. I'm zoning out.
They carry the whole movie.
Yeah, it's pretty much. there are a lot of other side characters in the movie, but again, the chemistry between them was was some of the best. I love the screenplay. The score was dope. The cinematography. Just all the way around. I love this movie. It's definitely like one of my favorites of the year. Obviously.
Movie. And my number 7 is Steve Jobs. And I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Fassbender won for Best Actor. He was great in this film. Kate Winslet, too. She was awesome. The writing was phenomenal. I started watching this movie, and right from the very first scene, that shit caught me. I was like, damn, like I'm hooked on it, man. This shit was awesome. And again, the structure, you just get all of this story in, like in those 3 events, was amazing. Like what they were able to do. And Danny Boyle, like a great fucking director. Caught me by surprise, because I heard it was really good, but I went into it and I loved it even more than I expected it to. So yeah, I love this one. It was a great movie.
My number 7 is Spotlight. Like he mentioned earlier, one of the best ensemble casts of the year. Tom McCarthy's screenplay and directing was great. I think also like with Steve Jobs, I think one of the best screenplays I saw all year. They didn't need to over dramatize this whole scandal that broke out with the Catholic Archdiocese in Boston.
The diddlers?
They don't, point fingers and say, oh, you guys are bad. The story was just so, like, kind of scandalous on itself that they didn't need to do that. They just laid it all out there and then, let you decide.
My number 6 is It Follows. I'm not like a huge horror fan, but this is one of those like horror films that we don't get movies like this anymore. It's like a big throwback to like the 80s horror films, and the score was amazing in this movie.
I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, the score was really dope. Like it makes you feel like you're in that era, and it just kind of back to when
it's
horror,
like a very like 80s synth vibe.
Yeah, and it just takes you back to when like horror movies were actually good. Like we don't really get good horror movies anymore. They're mostly all shit, but this is definitely one of the few that it's just so different, you know, and so unique compared to all the other shit that's coming out. Like, it stands out, and I love this movie.
My number 6 is Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. Like you said, we're big Mission Impossible fans. Right up there for me, I think Ghost Protocol might be my favorite, but this is like right up there maybe. Rebecca Ferguson, I think, was like one of the biggest revelations all year. She was like one of my favorite characters I think I saw like all year in any movie. I just thought the way that she made herself known into this franchise, I thought was really dope to see. I mean, and Tom Cruise, I mean, what can you say about the guy? I mean, he fucking hung off the side of a plane. But
see crazy shit he's gonna do next, man.
Yeah, I mean, some of the best action set pieces all year. And there's like a whole big 20-minute set piece in the middle that just like is incredible. But yeah, so I mean, I'm excited to see where the franchise is gonna go from here.
My number 5 is Anomalisa. He already had it on his list. I fucking love this movie. I was so surprised by it. Like, I went into it and I had heard people talking about it, and I'm like, oh well, I kind of have an idea what it's about. This is one of those films, like he said, go into it not really knowing anything about it if you can. What they were able to do with these characters and like how they chose to present it was awesome. Like, I loved it, and just the look and feel of the movie, it was just so unique, you know. I think it's one of the most unique films from the entire year, and I loved it.
At number 5, I have The Hateful Eight. Quentin Tarantino, I mean, what can you say about the guy that hasn't been said? Has already cemented his place as one of the best writers, directors of our generation. And if he only goes up to 10 films, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that guy will have a hell of a track record. He set the bar so high for himself, and I mean, he just really outdid it. 3-hour running time, and the fact that he was able to do so much with the dialogue and, you know, make, in essence, the dialogue the action of the movie, and just kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time. I mean, presented in 70 millimeter. I mean, it was just really a throwback to, you know, the way movies used to be presented. So yeah, I mean, definitely check out The Hateful Eight if you haven't already.
My number 4 is The Hateful Eight. I'm just gonna go up to the acting, because the acting was awesome. Sam Jackson, great.
Walton
Goggins, he was probably my favorite performance of the movie. He was fucking awesome.
He should be getting more love for his role in that movie.
I hope he does, man, because he was definitely like amazing in this film. Everyone really was the shit. And I mean, again, you can't say enough about Quentin Tarantino. I know he's got a lot of haters out there, but hey, man, like, people talk about him for a reason. Like, he's so unique, and just the way that he does his thing, you know, you might not like it. I love it. I mean, this guy's just a great director, you know, what he's able to do. Like, he has his own style. Like, nobody does movies like him, you know, and like, you got to give this man props to it. 3-hour running time and make a movie feel, you can't even feel the 3 hours. So it was just an amazing film.
My number 4, Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. I know there's been a lot of criticism of the movie by the fucking haters out there. Like, for you guys, I got this right here for you guys. Say what you want. It was a rehash of Star Wars. Like, look, I mean, if you know anything about Star Wars, you know the structure of the movies. You know the structure that it follows. Really, like, I mean, what's wrong with it? Everything that's being set up in this movie, I think is gonna lead into Episode 8. Looking really good with Rian Johnson taking over. And I mean, it just what JJ. I mean, JJ had like the pressure of the world on his shoulders. They hadn't lived up to expectations. I don't know if I could have taken another bad Star Wars movie. Some of the most fun I had, and just really like one of the most anticipated movies. I mean, just for me, but of all time. It's not a perfect movie, but it feels like Star Wars, and I loved it.
My number 3 is Star Wars. Watch Chris Suckman's video. We'll link to that down below if you guys haven't seen it.
For all you haters out there,
he breaks it down great. I mean, this guy has a great channel, but I mean, what he breaks it down is the same. A lot of things that he pointed out are things that I noticed, and I kind of thought of it, you know, like Kylo Ren being like even like more developed in one film than Darth Vader was even in the original one, you know, like what they were able to do with this film was awesome, you know, like we had been wanting a great Star Wars film for so long now, and we finally got it. People saying that it's a remake. It's not a fucking remake, man. It's a formula. James Bond has a fucking formula. People don't talk shit about James Bond, you know,
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, Indiana Jones, another one. They fucked it up with the last one, but these are all films that have formulas, and you just gotta you know, do something different with it, but you gotta keep some type of structure. And
if they don't make it like that, they say, well, it doesn't feel like Star Wars like the prequels did. If they make it too much, well, it feels too much like the original one. So it's like, I mean, you can't have it both ways, man.
And you can't deny J.J. Abrams' directing was fucking amazing. Like, whether you like it or you hate it, his directing was on point. Like, just the look and feel of the movie, it was amazing. Like, it's so much better than the prequels. And what he was able to do just visually and what he brought to the screen was the shit. You know, I love this movie.
My number 3 is Ex Machina. One of the early entries in the year, and stayed way up at the top. Like he mentioned earlier, I mean, just pretty much three actors that carry the whole movie, and Alex Garland's directing. I think his directorial debut as well.
Yeah.
After being like pretty accomplished screenwriter at this point. And I mean, for being his first movie, it just has this just incredible look to it. It just feels like really futuristic and like really sleek. It just, I mean,
the look of the film is dope, man. That's a dope look to that movie.
Yeah, three strong performances. I mean, if their performances weren't what they turned out to be, this movie just wouldn't have worked on the same level. One of those sci-fi movies that comes along that just kind of pushes the genre forward. And I mean, it was incredible. I loved it.
My number 2 is Mad Max. Fucking man, this movie's amazing. I saw it for like the 7th time, I think. I saw it in the theaters like 4 times. I saw it at home like 3 times. Like, this is an action movie that you don't get, and I know people try to talk shit about the story and all that, but like, look what he was able to do visually. What George Miller was able to do, with the camera and his directing, it was just amazing. Like we don't get action movies like this anymore. Like, this guy left the genre, he came back and he did it better than anyone that's done it before. What Charlize Theron brought to the screen as Furiosa, and Immortan Joe, I think, is gonna become one of the most iconic villains of all time. Just like a non-stop fucking action movie, and it's funny because it's one of those movies where there's a ton of action in it, but you don't get tired of it. Where there's other movies that they have more action, and it's like, dude, like, why giving me all this action? But the way that they paced this movie, and just I think the pacing was perfect. And this was just like such a well-crafted film. Like, I mean, this is like a work of art, Like, I fucking love this movie.
At number 2, coming in close, was The Revenant. Again, another late entry onto my list, but I'm glad I got to catch it before the end of the year. I mean, I had to watch it the day it came out. Like, I had to go catch it. Alejandro Iñárritu did it again, man. Coming off of Birdman. I mean, the dude had like just a lot of expectations coming off of how strong that movie was. The directing, the cinematography, the Tom Hardy and Leonardo DiCaprio were incredible in it. There's just so many just scenes in this movie, just so many things that happened that I just have no idea how they were able to capture all this. I mean, it seemed like a monumental task. I mean, they filmed it over almost the course of a year. And like I said in our review, I mean, it's all there. Like, you see the hard work is there on the screen. And I mean, it definitely paid off. So my salutes out to The Revenant, man. That was an incredible movie.
My number 1 is The Revenant. I fucking love this movie, man. Iñárritu, man, this guy is so talented. I think The Revenant is one of those films that we get, every once in a while, where like it pushes filmmaking forward, and he does things that people haven't done before. This movie looks gorgeous, man. Like, it just visually, it's just so great to look at. Leonardo DiCaprio, I think, one of his best performances, definitely probably his most physically demanding performance. That scene with the bear was the shit. Leaving the theater, like, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like, damn, like, how did they do this? Like, how did they direct this? How did they perform in these scenes, with these long takes? Like, it was just such a dope movie, and it leaves you like thinking, like, damn, like, how are they able to put this on screen, and just present it the way that they did, and that's why I had to put it at my number 1.
So my number 1, Mad Max Fury Road. I swear we didn't compare lists or anything. Our list just kind of happened to work out this way. The fact that this movie even got made is like a small miracle. A 70-year-old director taking over like $150 million budget action movie, R-rated action movie. And the fact that it was the success that it was, I mean, you just don't really see that in Hollywood nowadays.
And he got the liberty to do however he wanted it to.
Yeah, they pretty much just went out to the desert and said, I'm going to go make a movie. And that was it. I mean, and it goes to show you that sometimes just let the artists just do their thing. And I mean, they'll do incredible things. You don't have to be over their, these studios don't have to be over their shoulder every single fucking minute. It's an action movie, but I mean, it's a thing of beauty. It's a work of art. I mean, what George Miller managed to do to bring back this franchise after being gone for 30 years. I try not to throw the word classic around too much, but I think with some movies it applies, and I think to me, Mad Max is just an instant classic.
It's a classic,
It's I think one of the greatest action movies of all time. A sequel would be nice, but at this point, I don't even care if Fury Road is all I get. Then I'm okay with that.
Really dope seeing George Miller leave the genre and then coming back and then doing this, and then for him to just leave it, like, it would be the shit, Like, I wouldn't mind it if he left it that way. For
me, by far the best movie I saw a year. I mean, it's a masterpiece.
We didn't get to review all of these movies just because we kind of got,
we crammed like the last week.
So we're trying to catch up on all these, but the ones that we did review that we talked about on this list, we'll link to those down below.
Let us know what you think of our picks for the top movies of 2015. What your picks are. Maybe agree or disagree with the placement on our list. YouTube is free. Go make your own list if you don't like ours. So let us know what you think down in the comments. Hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.
What more can I say? Top billing, that's what we get. Got it good, and since you understood, would you bite a rhyme if you dare? I get the paper, so